Shalom, friends, and good morning. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Good morning or good evening, Yanis. Good morning, friends on YouTube. Please tell me if you get a signal, if you get a voice coming out at this broadcast. Thank you, Frank. Good morning and shalom. Shalom, everyone. Today I would like to share with you a passage from Weinreb's book, Roots of the Bible. This is from part 3, The Curve, from chapter 16, Facing the Other. We started reading this chapter 2 days ago. Fernando was in our class reading, and today I would like to share with you another segment of the book, also verses coming from this text. Venus, good morning. How do you do today? Yanis, good morning. I shall be happy to hear your voice if this is possible. Can you open your microphone, please, Yanis? Good morning, everyone. Yanis, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Yanis, can you get closer to the mic, please? Hello? Hot here, Venus. How hot it is? Venus, how hot it is in Canada? I shall be happy to hear how hot it is or how the weather is at your place at the moment. Today is the 21st of June in the North Hemisphere. This is the longest day. In the South Hemisphere, this is the shortest day. It's winter. So I would like to hear how it is to you wherever you are on the planet. I shall be glad to hear from you. 30 degrees. I understand, Venus. I understand. So, Yanis, can you hear us, Yanis?
Iti, yes, I can hear
Yes.
you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good evening. How do you do?
I'm very well, thank you. It's also very hot here in Singapore.
Mhm. Here we have at the moment 27, 28 degrees. There's a breeze coming from the ocean, so it's okay. It is still okay. So it's very, very beautiful day today. Basically, I never seen such a dawn in my life, what we have experienced here today. It was like deep green forest dawn. I never have experienced such a morning in my life. So it was very special.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It sounds beautiful.
Thank you, Yanis. Would you like to share something or to ask something before we start?
Um, maybe you start because I think my questions may not be in line with the subject today.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, Yanis, would you like to read few verses from us for us from Genesis 28 or from Weinreb book? Where would you like to start with the reading? Do you see the text on YouTube?
Yes.
So,
I,
yes, I would like to ask you, where would you like to start? In Genesis or in Weinreb book?
I can start from Genesis.
Okay. Do you see the letters clearly?
It's very tiny.
And now, is it better?
Um, yes, yes. So I start.
Yes, yes, please.
And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he lighted upon the place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took one of the stones of the place and put it under his head and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached the heaven, and behold, the angel of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood beside him and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and I will keep thee whithersoever thou goest, and will bring thee back into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How full of awe is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning, and took the stone that he had put under his head, and set up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of the city was Luz at the first.
Thank you so much, dear Yanis, for reading. And our focus this time will be on verse 19, when Jacob called the name of the place Bethel, but Luz was the name of the city at first. Let's see how Weinreb see the relations between those two names while he is looking at their numerical value. Yanis, do you see the text from Weinreb book here on the whiteboard? Do you see? Because now there is a bit of delay, because like 1 minute delay between what I exhibit here until the transmission moves to YouTube. Whenever you see the board is ready, please tell me that you received the full board and the text.
Yes, E.T., yeah. We can see it now.
Good. Can you read it, please?
Facing the others?
Yes, please.
Okay. The statement in one of the stories in ancient lore that Abraham on the journey from Haran arrived in the other world and in the Garden of Eden is based on this knowledge of the names of the places and of the knowledge of the structure of the Bible. Indeed, after this life of deriding and smashing up of those gods in the likeness of man, Abraham gets into the coming world, at the place which is the Garden of Eden, and on the way which is the way of the Messiah. It goes without saying one should approach every place and every name as also every image in the story of the Bible in such a manner. I can, however, within the narrow limits of this introduction, hardly do more than point to an occasional example, an example which moreover must be intelligible considering the limited knowledge of the structure of the Bible I have been able to impart to the reader in this book, which is small in proportion to the immense mass of material. All the same, there may be one or two examples in his area of place names worth mentioning here. Jacob also calls a place Bethel. It has first been called Luz, according to the Bible. Is this geographical orientation? Again, for the benefit of later seekers with their spades. In that spot, Jacob beheld the ladder. The top reached to heaven. And God had also told him that this land was destined for his seed. We know Bethel has a sum total of 443. Luz is spelled Lamed Wa Zayin, 36:7. Pronounced as number Luz is 43. So what Jacob did was adding 400 to the ancient name. With this happening of beholding the ladder with its top reaching heaven and everything taking place on its way of the 400, this period of the servitude of the world, the era of the four worlds, had come to an end. For that reason, the two names are mentioned. The substance as expressed in the quantitative proportion and the image of the word are interrelated. The addition of the 400 made of Luz the house of God. Let me round this off with one more example. The name Bethlehem is sufficiently well known. It means house of the bread. Now, bread is the finished product of wheat, chita. As already mentioned in a previous chapter, wheat is considered another level of the fig tree, the tree of knowledge. For wheat is in the systematism of fruit is the first, the fig is the fourth. And we know that just like the first and the fourth days of creation, here too the first is placed over the fourth in the systematism. As the story of the tree of knowledge was enacted in the second triad of days, it is there that fig tree is mentioned. However, viewed from the biological point of view, can't see anymore.
Yeah, sorry, I'm moving the text.
Yeah.
Is it been received?
No,
Not yet. Not yet. Soon it will come.
Okay. Yeah. However, viewed from the biological point of view, it is of course an unintelligible and illogical projection of the original wheat.
Thank you so much. So, this is a question to everyone. What does Weinreb describe in this text? How does he see the relation between Bet-El and the former name of Bet-El, which is Luz? How does he describe this transformation? The board is jumping at the moment. There is no connection, but soon we shall see. I will have the board and I could write few words. At the moment there is a disconnection with the server, so it is buffering. Felipe is here. Good morning, Felipe. Good morning.
Good morning, Nettie and Yanis.
How do you do, Felipe?
I'm fine, Nettie, thanks. I just was late, a little bit late, so I couldn't hear yet, but I'm very happy to be here, yes.
Thank you. Yanis was reading for us from Genesis 28 and from Weinreb book, few pages from chapter 16 regarding the relation between Bet-El and Luz. Now I would like to write those names. Those names are mentioned in the chapter that describes Jacob's dream. So we have the name Bet-El, which the value of Bet-El is 4, 4, 3. But in verse 19, in chapter 28, the Bible says that the former name of the place is Luz. The value of Luz in Hebrew is 43. So what Weinreb does is to subtract the value of the former name, Luz, from the new name, the current name that Jacob grants Bet-El. And we have, when we do it, is 400. Do we understand how Weinreb sees the relation between the former name and the current name? Is that clear? Yanis, Felipe, friends here, Eniola, Venus, do we understand?
Yes, I couldn't read the text of Weinreb,
Mm-hmm.
but as I see what you mentioned, the when we add the 400 to lose, we we made it a Bethel, a house of God.
Yes, yes,
It's quite intriguing because uh, the 400 is the manifestation, right? The
yes,
full manifestation. So uh, actually, it's interesting because I am curious to hear about luz right now, because it's like if we think about the 1 to 4 paradigm, uh, it seems that the 400 is the 4, the manifestation, the full manifestation, and the 43 stands for the 1. And just I will just say what it's in my mind. This 43 of luz makes me think about 4 plus 3, which is 7, or even 4 uh, double 3, which is 12. Those are, uh, let's say, important numbers, significant. And also the 43 stands for the name 400, uh, the, the, the numbers of the word Shem,
true,
name.
true, true, true.
This is what I was thinking when just saw it.
That's that's true, that's true. And this is what you are touching an interesting topic in terms of lore and midrash thinking, because Luz is not just a former name of a place in the Bible. Every stage in our life that we go for is unknown to us. What does it mean, unknown to us? We're not familiar, we don't know how to call a situation, how to name a person which is not familiar to us. We don't know how to name a place, an object. The sages are saying that there is a bone in the nape of every human, and the name of this bone, which is located in the nape and holds the skull, is Etzem Haluz. Etzem Haluz, the luz bone. It has also anatomical name, but it is interesting to use the midrash, the lower name for this bone, Etzem Haluz. This bone is connecting the spine and the skull. And the name of this bone is luz. So the sages are saying, as in our human body or anatomy, there is a bone in the nape, which is called luz, and the nape is at our back, not in the face. This is, in a way, symbolizes the unknown situations in our lives. So as we have, when we cross life, we always meet unknown situations, unknown names and ways. So whenever we go, the first occurrence is luz, the unknown, and when we are familiar already with a person, with a situation, with a name, with a country, the place comes to be as Bethel, the house of God, because we can name it. It's like we go, let's say we enter a new class and new members are coming. So we never met them. We never seen them. We never converse with them. But during our studies or our classes, we learn their names, where do they live, and we can relate to them. They have a name, they have a country. So every moment that we experience as unknown or as a new situation in our life is called lose. And every situation which we meet, in a way, the inner, the name of the person, the name of the place, the name of the plant, of the tree, this is Bet-El, because we can call the tree, the person, the way, the road in its name. So when we can use a name, we can pronounce a word, a meaning. It means this is the house of God, because the house of God is the speech and the word. So when we don't know situation, or we are not familiar with situation, this is loose. It's like a person go with a back to life. He doesn't recognize anything. But when we meet the essence, the name, this is the house of God, and we can recognize things. It's like a person walk in the morning, so he's familiar. This is the road to school. This is the house or municipality. We can recognize things. We can call their names. So this is Bet-El, the house of God. The conscious is the house of God. The unconscious is loose. We could say that when we go to sleep, this is a situation which is called loose. And when we wake up and it's morning and we recognize things and we are awake and we can speak and we can communicate, this is Bet-El, the house of God. Is this kind of thinking make sense to you?
Yes, it's very interesting. Just one to add to it. The name luz, the word luz in Latin writing is in Portuguese is light.
Yes,
Luz is
luz.
light, and in a way, it's like when there is only light, you cannot see anything. It's almost like go blind. You have to create distinction. You have to see the shadows, the forms, and the perspectives. It's just one perspective to add to what you were saying.
It is beautiful because Etzem luz, the essence, which is called luz in Portuguese, the essence is light, but we need, let's say, a negative, because we cannot see in complete light. We need a bit of shadow, or we need to concise our field to be able to recognize things. It is beautiful, dear Felipe.
And one other question, Eti. The name Bet-El, adding the one we have 444, and what could we say about it? It makes sense. It makes. Is there something that we could think about of this 444 regarding to this, that the four represent the manifested, and so
Yes.
I was just thinking there is a relation to make.
Yes, the word mikdash, let's look into it. Mikdash, temple, temple. So here we have Shin is 300, Kof is 100, Mem is 40, and Daled is 4. So we have 4, 4, 4. Mikdash temple 444. Bet El plus 1. But the 444 comes from the source, which is 1. So it is the hidden one. And you see, Felipe?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes, Venus says, loses the seat of the soul. True. True, Venus. Lose in our, let's say, anatomical structure. Have you heard the name tefillin before? Have you heard the name tefillin before the term tefillin?
Yes, I
Yes.
heard it.
So there is kind, I don't know how to call it, an ornament or something that the men used to wear before their prayer. And there is a knot that they put, which is directly at the point of the loose bone there. This is the unconscious. So the knot of the tefillin is put there in this place. And in the forehead, where let's say the Indian drop is, or the third eye is, there's like a little box in which 4 portions of the Bible are written, representing the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. So the knot of the tefillin, the unconscious, the connection between the soul and the body, is being represented by the loose bone or by the knot of the tefillin. This is the unconscious, because the body is the night and the soul is the day. So at this point, at this bridge, there is a knot, a connection. And the third eye, or in the Indian drop, there's, so to speak, the communication. So we have the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. So this is the orientation of those 2 major, let's say, point in men's head when men wear tefillin, so to speak.
And is there? Could we make a relation between this nape bone, and the aspect of Pharaoh, which it has relation with the nape as well?
Yes, yes. This is where Pharaoh governs inside. Yes. Whenever we hear in our mind those commands, not even from external boss or parent, of you have to do, you have to be, you have to bring so and so. This is the commands, yes, the nape. This is also the nape. Pharaoh sits in the nape. The nape in Hebrew is oref, oref. One second, I'll try to write it here. Paro. This is oref. Oref is nape. And Paro with hay, this is Pharaoh, sits in the nape. Yes. And gives commands. Basically, the commands of Pharaoh is the command of the body. The body wants to govern the soul. The notion of the body, the representation in space and time, wants to govern the soul. This is the aspect of Pharaoh inside of us.
It
True.
is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just saying true to Aniola what he wrote now on YouTube. Yes, Felipe?
No, it's interesting that the chapter of the book is facing the others, and we are talking about uh, the nape and the aspect of not seeing with the front eyes. It seems that Weinreb will speak about this relation or something similar.
True. True. I would even say that the other is the body, and each and every one of us, his first other, before this is a friend or family member, the first other that we experience in our life is the body in relation to the soul. The first other that we meet is our body. Please pay attention that it seems to me that this is how people experience pain when also animals, whenever we experience pain, we tend to seclude ourselves from other people, from other bodies, even if they're close. Whenever we feel pain, we tend to go somewhere, to isolation, to we tend not to communicate when we have pain, whether it's physical or mental. Look at the animals whenever they experience pain or they physically weak. They tend to also seclude themselves and sit somewhere at the edge until they heal or they go over the pain. So the first other is the body, because the soul is one. We experience many people on the planet, or a lot of animals, many trees and so fishes, whales, many bodies, expressions of life, but there's one soul that binds everything together. So whenever we're upset or we have some kind of a pain or trouble, the first tendency is to reject the other. The other is my body, which is at the moment suffering, any kind of suffering, and then to, in a similar way, we reject others, because the pain is in a way separates us, because the pain causes us to feel that our body is ours. There is a verse in the Bible, in English they translate it as love your neighbor like your friend, but in Hebrew is ואהבת לרעך כמוך, and you shall love your friend like yourself. לרעך ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Love your friend as yourself. If I would translate it to English, but it's not about a friend. רעך, רע, רע is a friend, amigos. But רע is also רע, in the sense that we are separated body. Separated body is bad. But God says in the Bible, and you shall love your friend or your body or your companionship like yourself. What is yourself? This is a soul, body. Relate to it. Not just body, but also unpleasant situations when because we experience reality, each and every one of us experience reality in brackets in a different way, because we have different filters, because each and every one of us was born in a certain place, in a certain culture, with a certain kind of memory that travels with him through his former life. So he comes with this, so to speak, database, and he experiences life as he is. But each and every one of us are experience life in a different way. And the tendency of us, also animals, we tend to be happy or to like pleasant situations and to run from unpleasant situations that we define them as unpleasant also. And here the verse says not to reject those unpleasant, try to learn from those unpleasant situations about ourselves and about what kind of a communication comes from those moments. Because every experience that we have is accurate. It is for us to experience. It's not just random things which are happening. Would you like to say something or ask something? Yanis?
E.T., I read somewhere that the loose bone will actually be used in the during the resurrection.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I was just speaking about this. Yes, this is what escorts us during our coming and going into this life. With this information, we are moving from one lifetime to another. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. This bone is, according to the laws, does not melt or dispose in the grave, because it has connection, so to speak, to the divinity.
But also you mentioned earlier that the loose bone is connected to the unconscious.
Yes, true.
So it doesn't quite connect if it's unconscious and yet connected to divinity.
Yes, because it's a bridge. It is a bridging bone. It holds from one part, it holds the skull, and the skull is the head. So this is the divinity. It's like a bridge. It always connects two kinds of, let's say, edges. So the loose bone connects the skull, the head, which is one from one point of view. And from another point of view, this is the beginning of the spine, or the beginning of the body, which is hanged or connected to the head. Like we have human, they have neck or nape, depends on how we look at it. So the nape, the neck, they are connecting between the head, the source, the origin, and the body, the manifestation in time and space. So the loose Bone has a double, it's like a double agent, I would say. Double agent, yes. So from one perspective, like Felipe was mentioning, luz, like in Portuguese is lux or light, divinity. But from another perspective, from the body rejects divinity, does not recognize divinity. So this is, so to speak, unconscious. The body always sends signals like animals. Just whatever, do that, do like this, behave like. There is no much difference between cattle and human, unless if we active or take into consideration our ability to communicate and to act in reason according to the divine logos. If we remove this component, behaving in a reasonable way, learning the systems of how the universe is working, if we take this component, we're just animals that are walking on two. This is it. If we remove the reason, the mind of reason, we are animals walking on two. This is it.
Earlier when I read the passage from Vine Rib, it talks about the four fruits.
Yes. Yes.
Do you?
I will draw. Yes, I will draw them. I will. 1 second. I'll move here on the board, and I will draw them. 1 second. This is 2. Maybe I'll make it 3. Yes. In Deuteronomy 8:8, there is the description or the names of the 7 species of the promised land. Deuteronomy 8:8. 7 species. Yes. And the first one is wheat. And the second is barley. And then the third is vine. And the fourth is fig. The rest is written in Deuteronomy 8:8. And we have few videos, more than a few videos about this topic. Now, what Weinreb says is if we pay attention, the wheat, chita, and the fig, te'ena in Hebrew, are occurring on the right column of the tree of life. This is the right. Not just this, but he also looks at the 2 tails of creation, in which in day 1, Vayehi Or, and there was light, Vayehi Or, parallel to wheat, and from wheat we make bread. This is why he also mentions Bet Lechem, the house of bread. This is day 1, Vayehi Or. And in the 4th day, on which we read about the sun and the moon, the 2 illuminators. So, like in the first day, when we have the potential of light, Vayehi Or, which is manifest in a way which is symbolized, by wheat, in the same manner on the fourth day, in which we meet the illuminators, the greater illuminator and the lesser light, so to speak, they are also symbolizing the relation between 1 to 4. So the relation between wheat and fig is like the relation between 1 to 4, the potential and manifestation. The potential of light is in day 1. Light. But the manifestation of lights, in plural, is in day 4. Does it make any sense?
Yes. It makes a lot of sense, and I think that we can even think about that wheat we cannot eat raw, and the fig is complete. It is we can eat the fig from the tree, and
True.
it is a complete work, let's say.
True. You remember the book of modesty, Sifra Tzniuta? There is a one, let's say, unit in the book of Zohar called the book of modesty, Sifra Tzniuta, in which opens in a little lore, as you mentioned. If we take a raw seed of wheat, we cannot process it. We can break our teeth if we try to chew a raw seed of wheat. We need to process it. And the lore that appears in Sifra Tzniuta says, speak about the process. There is a man that sits somewhere in the mountains, and all of his life eats what? A raw seed of wheat on the mountain. Please pay attention to those things, they are not random. One day, he decides to go down, to descend from the mountain and to walk until he noticed there is a great city. He enters the city and he meets very beautiful and good people that offers him to eat something. And he receives their invitation and sits with them next to the table, and he eats what they offer him. And it is very tasty, it's very soft and sweet. And he is marveled, and he asked them, excuse me, from how do you make those cakes or bread or meal? Can you tell me? And the people that host him say that this meal is made out of wheat. But the man says, I'm eating wheat all of my life, and I'm breaking my teeth eating the grains of wheat. And they say, first we take the wheat, and then we take the grains, and then we mold them, how do you say, in the windmill, and then we take a bit of water and oil, and we add a bit of honey, and we put it in the fire in the oven to make those cakes or this meal. And the man could not understand how can it be that the seed that he was eating on the mountain suddenly appears to him in a different form, in such a beautiful and marveled taste. And also this is this lore we can say about wisdom. The raw wisdom we cannot eat. We have to process it into little stories or into art or paintings or music that we could process this kind of wisdom, love, and harmony that surrounds the world. And as you said, Felipe, wheat we cannot eat raw, and the fig is a great manifestation because we can go now, there's summer here, and everyone can find a fig tree, and there is a fruit, and everybody can pick and eat. It's ready to eat because there's process in it already. The fruit is the process. Seed we cannot eat. Thank you. Questions? I see that Venus was asking something. Venus, can you describe what you would like to hear about?
This is so beautiful, Eti.
Welcome. This is why I understood it finally. Why? Because also I ask myself why we have those conversations, meeting, discords, writing letters, and so. Because this is the only way to appreciate life. You take a little part of it, a little drop of it, and you speak about it, and you sing about it, and you share artist perspective about books, about life, and in this way we can relate to life and appreciate them. Otherwise we cannot grasp. It is impossible to grasp life. This is to live the wonder of life. But in little sessions, little conversations, little meetings, sentences, little orders. What do I call order? If I manage to write a sentence and put it next to a painting in a way that it will make sense, it gives a lot of peace to a person. And when a person has peace, he can relate to the world, he can relate to others. If from some kind of reason people are being prevented to make this peace in themselves, to do something that gives them a meaning, they never have peace and their relation to the world is wounded. So I understood only with this pausa lately, that last week, that how important it is that each and every one of us is relating to the world in his or in her way. Make this little shrine to himself, herself, put things together in writing, in painting, communicating. It gives a lot of peace. This is the only way to go through this valley of tears, because if it doesn't make any sense, it doesn't give us a sense of peace, of order, it is impossible to cross life, because there's constant drop of chaos and lies and false broadcasting from all kinds of sources. So it takes a lot of time and effort to cut off ourselves from unreliable sources, relations, and just to focus on what comes from the intimate, innocent divinity, I would say.
That's just great, Eti.
Thank you. Here,
Just to,
yes, Felipe.
just to compliment the about the fig, Eti.
Yes.
If I remember, there is a lot about the fig being the fruit of the tree of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And in Western world, it was like mentioned the apple, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the fruit apple. And I don't know if it is in Midrash or other laws, but there is this that the fig tree the leaf of the fig tree was put Adam and Eve covered
Yes.
themselves with the fig tree leaf. So I guess there is a hint about it also.
Yes. Yes. Because, and if I understand you well, what you're trying to say is that Adam and Eve tried to cover themselves with the manifestation, but it does not help because manifestation, which is represented by the fig leaf, would never bring us to the source. If a person, let's say in our times, is surrounding himself with, let's say, just example, products, gadgets, every time when there's a new release of a gadget, of a game, or of a product, of a car, or whatever, and people just consume those new gadgets or products. This is like Adam and Eve Adam and Eve are covering themselves with fig leaves, because owning those products, those gadgets, just for the sake of owning, or just running after the, let's say, the run of products, does not give any peace. It's like a person who is eating always eating but never have satisfaction, doesn't give peace. This is the meaning of wearing fig leaves. In a way, sometimes people buy very expensive gadgets or cars, very, very expensive, but the way they go out of the car, the way they behave, or they turn to people or to life or to nature, it is clear to everyone that they wear fig leaves. So they might have very expensive car, expensive outfit, but since they don't have respect to nature, to trees, to humans, so it's clear that they are naked, though they wear our money and very expensive, own very expensive yachts and airplanes. So this is just a little example.
E.T.,
Yes.
when I read the Tanakh, it there seems to be an association of the fig with Israel. Um, because it like like in, for example, in Hosea,
Yes.
um, it says that, it's like an association. It says, in Hosea 9:10, it says, when I found Israel, it was like finding grapes in the desert. When I saw your ancestors, it was like seeing the early fruit of the fig tree. So it's like there is a connection between fig and Israel. Um, do you have any insight into this?
I will look into it. Hosea, what chapter again? 1 second, I will look into it. Hosea,
Hosea 9:10.
1 second. 1 second, I'm checking it. 9:10. 9:10. Yes. 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 1 second, I'll bring it in English. 1 second. One second. I'm copying it. It's a very beautiful one. Here. Yes, would you like, do you see the text? I will make it larger here that everyone could see or read. A second. Let's make it bigger. Yes. Would you like to read? Yanis, do you see the text or not yet?
I can't see it.
Soon,
Yeah.
soon. There is a delay. We have it. Here.
Need,
Do you see?
yeah.
Yes.
I found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your fathers as a first ripe in the fig tree at her first season.
Yes.
But so soon they came to Baal Peor, they separated themselves into the shameful thing and became detestable, like that which they loved.
Yes. 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 This is a metaphorical language that Hosea the prophet uses to describe Israel when they are turning their back to the origin and they follow foreign god and false belief. Yes. Yes. That's correct. The leaf, the leaf of fig, or the fig itself, is always a description of, or comes when the prophet or the story wants to say that people are turning their way from relation to God. This is a very good example, Yanis. Very good one. I just wanted to share with you two paintings if you have the time to look at them later. This is Jacob Dream. Look at this perspective. We don't have much time to look into it, but there's a great relations here between the angels, one angel, other angels, the light that comes while Jacob is asleep and dreams. And here there is another one, not by Rembrandt, but Rembrandt's school or style of Rembrandt. Please pay attention to sleeping Jacob and the feet. Think about it. Just a perspective. Maybe what we perceive as people who are asleep, who are living the time, who are living the perspective of only the body, which is asleep in time, we just see, so to speak, the edge of thing, the foot of things, not the origin. Two different perspectives about the same dream that the Bible describes. And in this occasion, I would like to thank each and every one of you that came to be with us today. And I would like to wish you a beautiful season. In the South Hemisphere, there's winter. In the North Hemisphere, there is summer. And I would like to wish each and every one of you a beautiful season, a moderate season of creativity, of good relations to life, humans, nature, and to divinity. Thank you so much, and shalom.
Shalom, Iti. Thank you so much.
Shalom, shalom. See you soon.
Shalom. Thank you. Bye bye.
Shalom, shalom.